Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking football. Yes, in the midst of this basketball run to the Final Four by Bruce Pearl and company. We got Vernon Speak Sports on the line. We encourage you to subscribe to the channel after you check out the videos because we discuss, debate, and analyze college football like no one else. So, transitioning from basketball talk to football is something that we talked about before we started to record, and that's coming off a 5-loss football season in which the standards are higher than that. Gus Malzahn obviously has put some heat on himself to say, I'm running the show and I'm going to take over the play calling this year and I'm going to do what got me here, and it's all on me. And so maybe the basketball run has taken some heat off of the microscopic look by many, which is typical at spring practice.
Well, one of the things you want to look at is Auburn, struggled in a lot of areas with that 8-5 season. When I started to really look at film and dissect some things and really look at some numbers, the Auburn Tigers have a lot of work to do over the spring practice. And I do feel that Auburn's basketball run ironically serves as a much needed decoy for Gus Malzahn to go through this spring, highly interrupted by all the media distractions, all of the expectations that the fans have. And, I think this was probably one of the best case scenarios for Gus Malzahn coming into spring practice and being able to be highly uninterrupted for at least 3 weeks. And it looks like he's going to be uninterrupted for another week because of the basketball team's success.
So the boys mixed it up on the practice field for a scrimmage this past Saturday. It's often difficult to get much information out of these scrimmages, and if we get a slice or two, people blow it out of proportion. A
Right.
receiver dropped a pass, well, he's going to go to the two deep, or a quarterback threw an interception while he's down in the quarterback battle. So maybe we need to cut it back at times when we hear some things, slivers of information online. But were you able to gain anything from Auburn's scrimmage on Saturday?
Well, one of the ongoing narratives with the quarterback battle is that Joey Gatewood is presumed to be the favorite. And we talked about a month ago, and I talked about the fact that if Bo Nix was, had a little bit more experience, he would be my favorite at the quarterback position. And that still stands true. But as it stands now, I'm looking at a guy like Joey Gatewood. I think about the rigors of the SEC. I think about what Auburn has ahead against Oregon. I think you definitely need a guy who doesn't mind running the ball, obviously. And you want a guy who is durable. Joey Gatewood is about 6'5", 220 something pounds out of Burnchard Trail High School in Jacksonville, Florida. He was a 4-star recruit, highly regarded dual threat quarterback. And from all indications, he seems to be the guy that the coaches are leaning towards, at least at the moment. And for good reason, because he has the physicality. He kind of brings that Cam Newton type physicality to where Auburn struggled a lot with those, short yardage down situations to where they had to go to Wildcat and all those types of things. And now with a guy like Joey Gatewood, when you have that 3rd and 2 and you can continue to move the chains, he becomes a factor at that point.
Good stuff with Vernon Speaks Sports. Join him on his YouTube channel, Talking Auburn Athletics. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, in collaboration with SD1 Sports on the SEC channel. So please check it out. And obviously keep it locked in here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, where we discuss, debate, and analyze like no one else. Spring is a time when coaches can kind of tinker and look at things. They look at situations in which maybe they've got a depth concern in one area and they see an athlete who they really like, but he's just buried at a particular position on the other side of the ball. And they can say, well, let's mix and match and let's see if he can make that acclimation. Also, comings and goings in and off the team. The transfer portal has been a huge storyline, but also just guys maybe seeing where the writing's on the wall for them at that particular program and they take the opportunity to leave. So a lot of those comings and goings at Auburn.
One of the things that I liked last season was the conversion of Noah Igbenogany, who was a former wide receiver, over to the cornerback position. I believe that he's positioned to be a all-SEC cornerback, assuming that Wesley McGriff can kind of shore up some fundamental issues that he had. Who he started to kind of improve a little bit, but he still had a pass interference call even against Purdue, which showed some fundamental issues. But physicality and athleticism is not the case. Now, when I look at the most recent position change, you got to look at Alec Jackson, former 3-star defensive lineman. One thing I like about this move is when you have a guy who has played the defensive line, you have to think that he has usually defensive linemen just naturally are being asked to be a little bit more athletic than the offensive line. So you bring that over to an offensive line that had struggled a little bit at times last season. And when you think about the run pass option and all of the pulling and the read assignments that have to be done in that type of offense, to be able to transfer a guy over from the defensive line to the offensive line with that athleticism. And you also have to factor in the enemy. You used to be a defensive lineman, so the tendencies of a defensive lineman, so you can transfer that over just as Noah Igbenogany did. It showed up very well in that Texas A&M game when he was just right in position as if he was the receiver making that play. So I think that was a great move for Auburn during the offseason.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please share the video, subscribe, like, and comment to keep us alive here, breaking down college football each and every day. We got Vernon Speaks Sports talking Auburn football. The spring game is coming up on April 13th, and we will talk to Vernon throughout the summer, breaking down once we get all the information and the analysis of the spring game in, looking at each particular position, breaking that down, and of course we'll have you back, Vernon, to talk schedules at some point. So since we are about inside 2 weeks to the spring game, just your thoughts about once we get to that day, what you would like to see, what's going to intrigue you to find a little bit more out about this football team.
One thing I do like is the fact that Gus Malzahn is calling plays, so that just cancels out everything I'm worried about as far as offense. The thing that I'm the most intrigued about is the defense, for example. A lot of guys probably didn't analyze this, but the Auburn defense struggled mightily between Mississippi State and the Alabama game. You're talking about a defense that gave up 450 yards per game, gave up 28 points per game on a team that overall only gave up 19 points per game. Also, when you look at teams continuing to be able to move the ball, giving up 24 first downs per game, and that's very abysmal when you're talking about the most important stretch of SEC play for the Auburn Tigers. So a lot of that, in my honest opinion, based on film study, was due to the fact that Auburn just has not had that elite play at the linebacker position. So what I'm intrigued by is whether Owen Pappoe, who has a lot of range, I watched this kid in the Under Armour All-American game. He gives Auburn that athleticism to cover the flat, to cover receivers. I mean, the Bo Nix almost threw a pick 6 to Owen Pappoe in the Under Armour game because he has so much range, and his closing speed at the point of attack will be way different. So I want to see whether KJ Britt, who I believe will fit the bill. KJ Britt is presumed to be the Mike linebacker who will take over for Deshaun Davis. Also, we talk about Zacoby McClain and Michael Harris, Michael Harris showed a lot of the type of athleticism, the height, and the range that Auburn is looking for to be competitive in the SEC. So outside of the quarterback battle, I'm not worried about, because any of those guys can be successful in any variation of Gus Malzahn's offense. But the linebacker position is the most intriguing, in my opinion, coming into the spring game.
Vernon, you do an exceptional job. It was great to find you, to get you on here to talk Auburn football. We appreciate it each and every time, and hopefully we can have you back soon.
Yes, sir, man. War Eagle.
All right, Vernon.